Hi guys, welcome to Tom and Harry SMMA. Okay, another topic for today on this channel is when you're working with a client, who are the people that can cause you problems when you're working with them? Because that does happen. It's not always plain sailing, and there's always people who interfere and just make your life a tiny bit harder. Who are those people? So we're going to go into that now. So I'm going to kick it off, mate, because this one is
I
the one
love
that
this
drives
video.
me
I really love
most
this
mad.
video.
Okay, so when you're working with a client and you're running ads or you're doing email marketing or SMS, whatever the service agreement is, because we have a lot in our agency, the one bunch of people that really fucking piss me off are the web designers or the web team of that business. So even like getting a pixel, like the Google tag, not so much Google tag, because that tends to be a staple on there anyway. The TikTok pixel, because we're running TikTok ads, yeah, or the Meta pixel. You ask them to put it on, 3 days later they still haven't done it, and you're thinking, why is this so difficult? Or they're like, oh, it should really go here and not there. And it is a complete. They really piss me off. They also then you want small changes made, or you have a funnel that is superb like what we produce, and the web designers might critique it, or even another one that we had where we wanted a CNAME record added to the domain of the website of the domain. Getting that done took like a week, and it causes you problems. And these website designer people tend to work on their own time. They're not quick to action anything because they feel like you're treading on their toes a touch. But that's number one, website design people.
Yeah. Just to add to that was because it's I feel like it comes from a place of resentment in the sense that
It's
those
jealousy.
webs yeah, those website designers probably a lot of them offer social media marketing in a very shit way. They're
Yeah.
not experts in it, and the way they do it is just fucking diabolical, which is why
Yeah.
they didn't win the business. So when you come in and do a service that they can do,
Yeah.
they get a bit funny about it. But I mean, how would you solve that? Like all of these, we can highlight these issues, but we need to cover how we solve them.
How you so you have to tell the client what that issue is and how it affects you.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
and I think getting that web if you notice that problem early on, get that website designer on a call, you and him, and just be like, right,
Yeah.
I need this done. If you're going back on emails and you're going back on text, he's taking ages to reply. That's just gonna make the process even longer. Get him on a call straight away and be like, do it on the call, share your screen, and just I'm not getting off until it's done.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right.
Number
Number,
two,
I'll hit number two, mate, because this
go
has
on.
happened recently. Is that and this happens more with long-term clients like this one, in the sense you're probably not going to run into this problem unless you're keeping clients longer term. If you're keeping them for like 3 months, it's probably not going to happen. But
Yeah.
say you've got a client for a long period of time, like 3 or 4 or 5 months, everything's going super well. They then hire a new senior member of staff.
Yeah.
So, for example, you're working with a day spa, and they then hire a new spa manager. She comes in and changes the process slightly. So you've got it all nicely. She comes in and kind of when new senior members come into play, what they kind of do to make an impact on the client's business is rough it all up a little bit. They dive into each part of the business, what they spending money on, what are they doing, how can we make these processes more effective, and they're going to probe you and they're going to test your marketing knowledge and ability. So, which is going to be fucking annoying because everything would have been working so nicely up to that point. Not to say that it gets ruined, but it tests you in the sense that, especially if it's a senior member of staff that has prior marketing knowledge, they're gonna throw out key. They're gonna say, right, what are the open rates on your emails, or what's the click through rate on the ads, and that's why you need
Yeah.
to be so knowledgeable, because you can just completely diffuse the situation, being like, click through rates this, conversion rates this, and this. But when those senior members of staff come into play, it is kind of down to you to get them on your side, because if they're not on your side, it's going to be a losing battle because they're in the business every day.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's a big one. It's happened to us loads of times, and it's affected us negatively. It's a
It's
lot of
also,
time.
yeah, and that is a big one where an internal member of staff comes in and then you and they want to they want to puff their, flap their feathers, as it were, and be like, oh, I'm making a difference, I'm making an impact. Thank you for bringing me into this business. I'm going to look at what we're spending money on. I'm going to make some changes. And who's Tom and Harry, and who is this agency, and what are they doing for you? And they're the police. They become internal police, and they want to bring you down, man. But that is something you have to deal with. The other thing with internal staff is they can be very critical about some of the work you put out, and they might say things like, well, that doesn't sound like something we would say, or that doesn't sound like the business owner, what she would say, and that's not what we've done before. And that, again, is that brings headaches, and you're like, oh, let me just get on with it. Okay, so that's that.
I think one final point on that in terms of how to resolve it is you just have to get them on your side. It's kind of one of those things that because they're in the business way more than you, because they're an in-house member of staff and you're an agency, they're kind of on the upper hand in the sense that they're talking to the business owners all the time. They're in the business, and you just need to try and get them on your side rather than fight them.
Show empathy, listen, show empathy, and involve them in the process, and say to them, okay, well, what recommendations would you recommend? What would you give me? Type thing. So yeah, that's the best way. I agree, Harry. Right, number 3, people who cause you problems. So me and you will work with a business. We've won one recently with a business in the US. She wanted all of our services that we offer, so TikTok ads, Meta ads, email marketing, a strategy on how to grow the email list, and SMS, and everything, and creative design, all the things that we offer. She didn't want social media management. She didn't want anyone posting on her behalf, which means there is an individual now doing that. Okay, they cause a few problems because they will be the ones who are like, well, I'm posting this, and the creative looks like, I want the creative to look like what I've done. Because there's an element of creative design. You're doing ads, and she's doing social media. There are times, not huge, but there can be where they either want to do your job for you, and they have no idea because it's not running an ad, it's all the infrastructure that runs behind it. Or it can cause a bit of friction. And that's it, I'd say.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's really number 3. And 4, I'm going to let you pick up 4. 4 is family members who haven't been. So you've won the contract, 4-month deal with Susie, who is the owner of this business. She loves you, thinks you're great, bought into your strategy, goes, yeah, you guys are going to be great for my business. Susie has a rich uncle who funds the business. Okay.
Oh, big one.
And Susie maybe has a husband who isn't anything to do with the business, but certainly likes to think he is. Family members. Right. Talk me through it, Harry.
So this has happened quite a few times in our business and many other businesses that are Academy members' businesses, where they'll get on a client meeting with Susie, completely sell her on the services. She's on board, bosh, ready to pay the invoice, ready to sign the contract. She then takes it to the family member who funds it and her husband, and different family members, and they say, oh, it's a lot of money, like, there's no guarantees, there's this, and this, putting doubts on Susie's mind. So then Susie comes back to us and says, Tom and Harry, oh, I've got all these doubts now, I'm not feeling confident, I might have to wait a few months, or if we get now, you're gonna have to give me guarantees, and then you finally get it over the board, and then throughout the throughout that 4-month contract, she's getting loads of pressure from the dad saying, oh, I told you this wouldn't work, you need to be making money now, I've invested in this and your idea. And which is really rightly so. If I was funding my daughter's business and she suddenly agreed to two strangers, agency owners, to pay £2,000 a month on marketing, and they're not getting anything back or whatever, I would be putting the same amount of pressure on. The only way you can solve this, and this is an absolute one solution fix, if you do anything else, it's not going to fix the problem, is you've got to get those people on a call. You absolutely have to get because we always say in outreach, you've got to get the decision maker on the call. You've got to get the decision maker on a meeting to make the decision. But what you've done there, you've kind of got the decision maker, but you've got the decision maker that actually doesn't have 90% of the control.
The control, yes.
The actual decision maker is her dad who funds it. You've got to get those people on board. If you're then going to send him an email saying, we do this, here's some case studies. No, you've got to get him on a call. He's got to meet you. You've got to meet the husband. You've got to meet the decision makers in the business, get everyone on board. It's the same way. You're not going to be able to sell your services to a more corporate company without getting all the board members on board. Or the two shareholders, bad cop and good cop. A lot of the time you'll have the first meeting with the good cop, he'll go and talk to the bad cop, and then you won't hear from them again. You've got to get
and this
really
is
the bad cop on board first.
You do. And this is only really when, maybe results are slower. We've worked with businesses where the first 2.5, 3 months have been really slow. And then month 4, 5 have just been fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's getting through the wintry, blistery period, which is learning, there's a learning phase for everything. We're not once. And I hate it when people say, oh, you shouldn't have a learning phase. You should just guarantee results and get straight in there. All these things are just fucking bullshit. But there's an element of you have to learn and let the audience and the market talk back to you and listen to it. There is that phase. That phase is difficult because there's not an instant return. Doesn't mean you're not getting anything, but it's a slow period. That period is the moment. That's the tough one where that people will be like, "Oh, I told you not to use them," or, "Well, if we'd use these lot, they said that they can guarantee 50 leads or an ROI of this, and we should have maybe used that." We've had it all. And then they go and use these people sometimes after they've used us, and they just get completely trodden on, and it's garbage. Seen it. But yeah, family members, they, when you've done the pitch to the Susies of this world and they loved it, because those family members haven't heard the value you bring and the journey you're going to go on and all the other tasks that you're doing in the background, they think you're not on it. You're not sharing the passion.
Yeah.
And actually, Susie's getting your passion, Harry. Susie's getting your vibe and your value. And she's like, Harry is all over this shit.
Yeah.
Her dad and her rich uncle are like, well, I don't know Harry from Madam.
Yeah.
No, it's difficult.
A good way to get around this is on that initial call, not the cold call or the prior call to the meeting, which I recommend you guys fitting in, is just saying, right, is there anyone else that you'd like on the call? Is there anyone else in the business that's a decision maker that's going to be involved in the project heavily that you'd like to be on it? Because we'd personally like to showcase the presentation to them. They'll respect that a lot more, because a lot of people will want to hide away from those big scary figures. Like, invite them on the call, educate them, get them on your side, because they're going to be the people. If you get them on side, they're going to jump the quickest. Like, if you get the big scary boss on your side, he's going to hand over his cash way quicker than Susie is, because that's just the type of people those people are.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think that's it. I think people who cause problems, I think, are just as a summary, website designers or any IT, the internal staff. When a new manager comes in for a clinic and wants to just rip and gut everything out and cut costs, or whatever, make changes. The content creators, social media managers of the world who can't and aren't skilled enough to do your job. So again, a little bit of resentment there, and they want to nose and pick and get involved in what you do. But the difference in skill sets, by the way, of people who can manage social media accounts, so posting and scheduling posts, it's not a difficult task, and those who run strategic ads and are doing full digital marketing, it's like an infant and a full adult. Just as a clarification. And then family members. So there's the 4, and they can fuck things right up for you. But get a handle on it. Tackle those things head on. Speak to the people you need to speak to. Don't shy away from it. Don't accept criticism where it's unjust and unfair, and people don't know what you're doing. I think that's a big one.
Just communicate.
And communicate. Yeah, communicate. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
definitely.
Communicate. Stand your ground in the most friendly and amicable way possible.
And show your value. Make sure you're always showing your value and what you're bringing to the table. The minute people think you're not bringing much, your family members, your content creators, your website designers will be sticking a knife in your back, and you're not going to keep that contract for very long. There we go.
Absolutely. Well, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Our previous video was on what's happening in the SMMA space, why your favorite YouTube SMMA guru is quitting YouTube and quitting, running a social media marketing agency. We debunk all of that, what our thoughts are on it, what our thoughts from the industry. So give it a watch, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Peace.